I'm Capito, and the topic that I'm going to discuss today is industrial water supply system. By the name itself, it suggests that industrial water are water that's being used specific for industrial purposes. Water is essential not only to us people, but also to most industries. Manufacturing and other industries use water during the production process for either creating their products or cooling equipment used in creating their products. So, competing water uses. Like I said, industrial water are water that are being used for industrial purposes and not for domestic or agricultural. So, around the globe, around 7 to 8% are being used for domestic water. And around 70% are being used for agricultural, while 22% are being used for industrial purposes. So best example for this are paper, chemical products, factories, etc. So as you can see, the high income countries use more water, 59%, than low and middle income countries, which is only 10%. It is because high income countries wants to produce more products or more technology, and it also requires more water. The more product you produce, the more water you'll need. There are a lot of uses for industrial water. It is used for fabricating, processing, washing, diluting, cooling, or transporting a product. Water is also used by smelting facilities and petroleum refineries. So it is an industrial process plant where crude oil is transformed and refined into useful products such as gasoline, diesel fuel, asphalt base, heating oil, kerosene, petroleum, liquefied petroleum gas, jet fuel, and fuel oils. Also, it is used for industries producing chemical product. No? Example, liquid soap or any kind of soap, uh, pesticides, fertilizer, and many more. And also for industries producing food, no? Such as uh, canned goods or any kind of foods. And also it is used by industries producing paper, paper products such as paper towel, toilet paper, books, notebooks, paperboard, or any products that is made of paper. Large amount of water are used mostly to produce food, paper, and chemicals. Top 4 industrial user of water. First is the ultra pure water used in semiconductor manufacturing. Water is an essential component for the manufacturing of semiconductors and chips, which are used every day in computers, cell phones, automobiles. Ultra pure water is used throughout the process, including to remove impurities from silicon wafers. Second is the cooling water. Cooling systems are used to remove heat from process or equipment. Heat removed from one medium is transferred to another medium or process fluid, which most often is water. Uh, Third is the water used in the oil and gas markets. So, globally, The oil and gas industry represent less than 5% of total withdrawal, but the sector have an important role to play in protecting the quality of water in the areas they operate. Water in raw materials used and produced in high quantities in the oil industry. From extraction activities through refineries and process water and petrochemicals uses include injection water, production water, process water, wastewater, rainwater, cooling water, tank cleaning water, and others. Fourth is the water used in pulp and paper mills. Despite the digitalization prompting a move away from printed products, the pulp and paper sector remains one of the largest users of industrial processed water in the US and the largest second in Europe. Water is intricately associated with 85% of all three stages of paper production, namely pulp making, pulp processing, and paper or paperboard manufacturing, and their associated activities of cooking, bleaching, and washing. A high quantity of water consumed in the pulp and paper industry is used only for processing, thus leading the generation of large volumes of contaminated wastewater. So, did you know that industry is a huge source of water pollution? It produces pollutants that are extremely harmful to people and the environment. Many industrial facilities use fresh water to carry away waste from the plants into the rivers, lakes, and oceans. So, what is industrial water pollution? So, as well as consuming vast quantities of fresh water for manufacturing, industries also produce wastewater, often laced with waste by products used during the process. Depending on the country and region, there are differing levels of regulation governing what can and cannot be discharged to the local waterways. The following are some examples of worst-case water pollution. So, first is the textile manufacturing water pollution. Textile manufacturing has been called one of the biggest polluters on the planet. With textile mills said to generate one-fifth of the world's industrial water pollution. In China, for example, up to 20% of the country's industrial water pollution comes from textile dyeing and treatment. It's estimated that up to 20,000 chemicals are used globally for textile manufacturing. Despite high water usage of textile production plants, it is the wastewater being discharged which can contain a cocktail of chemicals that is equally cause for concern. This wastewater can contain lead, organochlorines, and chemicals that when disposed of into water bodies that will eventually reach water bodies for consumption and can cause severe health problems and disease in human beings. The second is the petrochemical water pollution. No? Petroleum refining has been one of the world's largest industries. However, potential environmental hazard associated with refineries have caused increased concern for communities according to the EPA. So, these are some examples of pollutant that comes from industry source. So first is the asbestos. This pollutant is a serious health hazard, and it is carcinogenic, so it is cancerous. Lead, this is a metallic element and can cause health and environmental problems. Third is mercury. This is a metallic element. It is also a metallic element and can cause health and environmental problems. It is a non-biodegradable substance, so it is hard to clean up once the environment is contaminated. Mercury is also harmful to animal health, and it can cause illness through chemical poisoning, mercury poisoning. Fourth is the nitrates. So the increased use of fertilizer means that nitrates are more often being washed from soil and into rivers and lakes. This can cause eutrophication, which can be very problematic to marine environment. Next is phosphates. So the increased use of fertilizer means that phosphates are more often being washed from soil and into rivers and lakes. So it is similar to nitrates. No? It also causes eutrophication, which can be very problematic to marine environments. Next is sulfur. Sulfur. This is a non-metallic substance that is harmful for marine life. So next is oil. So oil does not dissolve in water. Now, instead, it forms a thick layer on the water surface. This can stop marine plants receiving enough light for photosynthesis. It is also harmful for fish and marine birds. Uh, Lastly is the petrochemical. So this is formed from gas or petrol and can be toxic to marine life. So ways to control or reduce industrial pollution. So first is the issue of industrial pollution is critical to every nation on the planet. With the increase of harmful effect of industrial pollution, there are many agencies and individuals who are working to reduce carbon footprints and live and work in an eco-friendly way. However, industrial pollution is still rampant and will take many years for proper control and regulation. Many steps can be taken to seek permanent solution to the problem. So first is the source control. So adopting new technology, efficient training of employees for safe use, and development of better technology for disposal of waste, and being more conscious about the use of raw materials can help control industrial pollution at the source. Second, recycling. So recycling as much polluted waters in the industries as possible by increased recycling efforts to reduce industrial pollution. Third is the cleaning resources. So organic methods should be adopted to clean the water and soil, such as using microbes that use heavy metals and waste as feed naturally. Cooling rooms or bins needs to be developed that allow industries to recycle the water they need instead of pushing it back into the natural water source where it came from. Fourth is the industry site selection. So, consideration of location of the site and potential impact on the surrounding environment can help reduce harmful consequences. So, fifth is the proper treatment of industrial waste. So, by developing and implementing adequate treatments facilities for handling industrial waste and proper habits can reduce pollution. So, sixth is the rebuilding habitats and afforestation. So rebuilding habitats by planting more trees and plants can help give wildlife back their homes. And the trees can help purify the air with enough oxygen and act as a buffer against environment. So 7. Stricter laws and enforcement. So the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, works to correct the damage from industrial pollution. There should be more stringent rules to take action against companies who do not follow proper protocol and more significant rewards for the company who operate properly. It requires creating policies that prevent misuse of land. 8. And the last, so regular environmental impact assessment. So being a responsible company or industry should require regular environmental impact assessments that are reported for evaluation. If there are harmful impacts discovered during review, necessary action to correct the negative consequences should be developed and enforced. So that's all, and thank you. God bless and stay safe.